As Japan enters another year of heightened tensions with China, it is also increasing its military spending. This has led some to wonder why Japan, a country with a pacifist constitution, is suddenly beefing up its armed forces. And in today's video, we'll try to figure out why Japan is spending $320 billion to build up the strength of its military. Hello, and welcome to our channel, Primetime TV. Before starting our video, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Now, let's get this video started. Doubling of military spending. Japan has approved its biggest military buildups since the Second World War. It has warned that China is the greatest strategic challenge ever, and laid out plans to develop a counter-strike capability with money from record defense spending. The government announced the plans on 16 December. They show a growing alarm over a more aggressive Chinese military and a North Korean government that continues to improve its nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. But the changes have also drawn criticism that Japan is giving up on the pacifism that has been part of its constitution since the end of World War II. Over the next 5 years, Japan wants to double its defense spending to 2% of its GDP. This is a change from its post-war promise to keep spending at 1% of GDP. World's third biggest defense spender, the increase would bring it in line with other NATO countries and make it the world's third biggest spender on defense, after the US and China. The 5-year spending plan did not include a detailed plan for how Kishida's government would pay for it. Lawmakers from the ruling Liberal Democratic Party are still talking about whether to raise taxes or borrow money. Under the changes outlined in 3 documents, Japan will get new weapons that can hit enemy targets 1,000 kilometers away with missiles launched from land or sea. Some people think this goes against the country's war-renouncing constitution. In Article 9, which was written by US occupation forces after the Second World War, Japan gave up on war and agreed not to use force to settle international disputes. Its military, which is called the Self-Defense Forces, is limited to a strictly defensive role, but critics say that has left Japan ill-equipped to respond to present-day security threats posed by China and North Korea. Voters in Japan have been skeptical about changing the constitution directly in the past, but support for a stronger military has grown since the Ukraine war, and fears that a Chinese invasion of Taiwan could threaten Japan's security. So where will the money be spent? Exclusively defense-oriented. The money will pay for projects like getting what Japan calls counter-strike capacity, the ability to hit launch sites that threaten the country. The documents say that Japan's current systems for stopping missiles are no longer enough, and that it needs a counter-strike capability. Media reports say that Japan will spend money to improve its missile defense and buy up to 500 Tomahawk missiles made in the US. The Yomiuri Shimbun newspaper says that it would eventually use more than 1,000 long-range cruise missiles that could reach North Korea or the coast of China. Media reports say that Japan will also beef up its military presence on its southernmost islands by tripling the number of military units there and giving them the ability to stop ballistic missiles. What about China? China is likely to be upset by the national security strategy's stronger tone. The document, which hasn't been changed in almost a decade, now says that Beijing is a threat to regional security and that Japan is no longer looking for a mutually beneficial strategic partnership with China. Wang Wenbin, a spokesperson for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, asked Japan to act on the political consensus that the two countries are cooperative partners and do not pose a threat to each other. Wang said, hyping up the China threat as a reason to build up its military is doomed to fail. Chris Hughes, a professor of international politics and Japanese studies at Warwick University, said that Japan's military stance has changed a lot because of the new strategy. Hughes, who wrote the book Japan as a Global Military Power, said that the Japanese government will say that these changes are necessary, moderate, and in line with how they have always defended themselves. But he said, they will radically strengthen Japan's military power, to use a phrase often used by the Liberal Democratic Party itself in policy documents. The self-defense forces will be reorganized so that the Army, Navy, and Air Force can respond to emergencies more quickly. There are many reasons for this, but one big one is that Japan wants to show China and the rest of the world that it is strong. By showing it can defend itself, Japan hopes to stop potential attackers and make the balance of power in the area more stable. We still don't know if this plan will work, but it's clear that Japan is serious about building up its military. What do you think about the largest military buildup in Japan? Tell us in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate your time. We'll see you again soon.